How is everyone doing? Doing well? I can't hear anyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Who is joining for the first time today? Mahi and Kaira. All right. And Raman. How do you?
Sir, my name is Ramana.
Ramana. Where are you from?
India, Delhi.
Okay. And how do you pronounce your name? Dario?
Also, Dario.
Dario. Where are you from?
I'm from Pune.
All right. And Kaira?
From Mumbai.
Which place? In which side of Mumbai?
South.
Where exactly?
Tardev?
Okay, even I stay very close. Okay, Mahi?
I stay in Calcutta.
Calcutta. All right. Anyone else joining for the first time? Shrinika, yes.
Yes,
Where are you from?
Calcutta.
Calcutta. All right. And Manya?
Live in Delhi.
Delhi. All right. So, anybody remembers what we did last time? It was just an introductory class, but we did discuss few things, few important things. Anyone remembers?
We learned that we should not compare ourselves.
Yes. Which story did we talk about?
The squirrel one.
The squirrel and Hanuman story. All right. Tamara, you wanted to say something? You had to say something? Samara? I thought you raised your hand. All right. So, yes, and we shouldn't compare, we shouldn't judge. And we also discussed one more story, interesting story, the funny story. Why is Hanuman always seen covered with red? Everybody remembers that part?
Yes, sir.
So we discussed how Hanumanji once saw Mother Sita putting some sindoor in her hair, and Hanumanji asked her why she was doing it. So she thought Hanumanji wouldn't understand because he wasn't even married. So she just told him whatever would sound relevant, that if I put this color on my head, Lord Ram becomes happy. So Hanumanji went to a shop and he covered himself fully with red color, thinking that if little color can give Ram so much happiness, then what if I color myself fully? So that's the spirit that Hanumanji carries. So we learn from Hanumanji how we must be willing to serve the Lord, please Him, make Him happy, do the best we can. All right, so I will be starting with something called the Bhagavad Gita a little bit today. And we'll try and learn one particular verse from the Gita, important verse. And based on that, related to that, we will also discuss many other things as I discussed last time, because these classes are specially meant for making ourselves aware of our spiritual heritage, spiritual culture. We'll be discussing about the Lord's various incarnations, the holy places we have with the scriptures like Ramayana, Mahabharat, Bhagavad Gita. And many of you are aware of this Bhagavad Gita. Have you heard this name ever? Bhagavad Gita?
Many times.
Many times. Who else has heard the name Bhagavad Gita? Almost everyone, right? Okay, what does it literally mean? What is the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita?
Does it mean Krishna?
No, we'll start with the basics. You can raise your hand so that we know, just like when we begin our learning, first things that we learn is A, B, C, D. So let's learn the basics so then everything else later will make sense. So what is the literal meaning of the word Bhagavad Gita? Just raise your hand. You can just guess, doesn't matter, even if you're wrong. And if you're right, okay, Mirka, yes.
I think the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita is Basically, a story that Lord Krishna told to Arjuna when he was fighting the Kauravas.
That is, of course, but I'm asking about the literal meaning of the word Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Ramana. Ramana.
Yes, so it might be a book of God, or it might mean that it means that verses of something.
Chalo, one more try. Who would like to guess? Anyone?
I think the meaning of Bhagavad Gita is like worshipping and having dedication to God.
Okay. Let's see. So the exact meaning of the word Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad refers to God, Bhagavan, right? Bhagavan, God. And Gita means the song. So what does Bhagavad Gita literally mean?
God's song.
Song of God.
Song of God.
You'll remember this now? Song of God. And who is singing this song? Who is singing the song?
Krishna?
Krishna to his? He's singing it to whom?
Arjun.
Arjun. Arjuna was his dearmost friend. All right. So the song of God. Now, how many shlokas, how many verses does it have? Anyone remembers? You all have your pen and paper? You all have your pen and paper? It will be easier for you to remember. How many verses does it have? Who would like to answer?
I don't.
Who would like to answer? Yes, Prasmita.
So I think it's 700.
700. Yes, the Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. And how many spoken by Krishna? There are 700 verses. How many have been spoken by Krishna? Around 575. Right? Okay. And then there are others, around 82 verses spoken by Arjuna. Around 80 or around 42 by Sanjay. I'll tell you who Sanjay is, and one by Dhritarashtra. So who is Dhritarashtra? Anyone knows? Yes, Shinika.
Dhritarashtra is blind and he's the father of Duryodhan and he's the king of Hastinapur.
Very nice, very nice. Yes. So there were two sides, Pandavas and the Kauravas. Kauravas were how many brothers? 100.
100, sir.
So we read this in Mahabharat. And the Pandavas were 5. But who was more powerful?
The Kauravas, sir.
Pandavas.
Kauravas were greater in number, but Pandavas were always very powerful. They always defeated the Kauravas. So the Bhagavad Gita refers to the song of God. Now, have you ever faced this challenge where somebody asks you, or your friends maybe, or anyone in family, circle, relative, society, how can you prove that there is somebody called God that exists? Because we can't see, we generally try to believe in whatever we see. So how can we prove this to our friends? How can we keep our faith going? What would you answer if I ask you, okay, prove me that there is someone called God? How do you prove it? How do you justify your statement? Aradhya, what do you say?
Sir, I say that people might believe him or not believe in him. It's just okay to believe in him. The sannyasis have seen God in their minds and we have to believe them.
Okay, yes, Shibya?
So I think God is real, because then if God was real, then who would make the earth and all?
Yes, anyone else? How would you, okay, you might have faith, but how would you protect your faith if somebody challenges you tomorrow? How would you maintain your faith, sustain your faith? So we need some scientific understanding, right? To prove in their language, some scientific rational understanding. So let us try to figure that out. I will just be sharing something on the screen, and then we'll try to understand it technically, how we can prove this to others.
Sir, Aradhya wants to tell something.
Yes, Aradhya?
Sir, nobody has ever asked me this, but I asked my mother and father this many times. How do we have proof that God exists?
Okay, so what do they answer?
They answer, we should simply believe in him. He's the one who created the universes and galaxies.
Okay.
Who else would have done it?
Great, great. So I will share some points with all of you today, which will help you prove. And when you are discussing with your, say, friends, relatives, or anybody in society, how you can protect your pet, how you can scientifically talk about it. Right? And then we will also be learning one particular verse from the Gita. So every time we'll try and memorize, I'll teach you how to do this. Okay. So if somebody says, no, I do not believe in God because I'm a student of science. I cannot see, I cannot touch, I cannot feel. Like once in one classroom, a teacher entered, and that teacher was an atheist, non-believer. And he liked to abuse and he liked to challenge all those students in the classroom who believed. So he challenged, okay, because whatever we experience in this world, we do it through our senses, our eyes, our ears. So he asked one student to stand up. He asked him, can you see God? He said, no. Can you touch God? He said, no. Can you smell God? He said, no. Can you hear God? He said, no. Can you taste God? He said, no. Therefore, by the inference of science, I declare there is no God, because you can't even experience him through your senses. You can't touch, taste, smell, hear, or see. So the student was confused what to speak now. So then there's another intelligent student in the classroom. He got up and he turned to the students. He said, I have a few questions also. He took permission from the teacher. Teacher was smiling, thinking that he had won the argument. He turned to the students, he said, can you see our teacher's brain? So everybody said, no. Can you touch his brain? He said, no. Can you smell his brain? They said, no. Can you taste his brain? They said, no. Can you smell his brain? They said, no. So therefore, by the inference of science, I declare that he has no brain. So just because we can't see doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So how we can scientifically talk about it to preserve our faith and to help others develop that faith. Now I have a few questions. Just a second. This is a different slide. Okay, this is it. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So the first point, like in science also, we experiment. There is a theory to prove the existence of something, or whether something is really happening, taking place. So in this also, we try to prove through the scientific method, a theory called Lord theory. So now can you name the inventor here? Who invented telephone?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Great, great, great. Thank you. Who invented this?
James Watt.
Yes, right. Very nice, very intelligent students.
Galileo Galilei.
Galileo. Okay, great. Bulb, electric
Thomas
bulb?
Edison.
Thomas Edison.
Edison. Okay, great. Now my question is, can these things come into existence automatically? Or
No, sir. It
No.
will take many years.
you just observe things around yourself and see whether even the smallest thing has come into existence without a creator behind it. Even the smallest thing. Can anything come into existence without having a person behind, without having a creator behind it?
No, sir.
Not even the smallest thing. So what this leads to is a principle. If there is a creation, there must be a creator, right?
Yes, sir.
So
So is
just
the creator God?
so just we are not discussing that stuff. We are just discussing science, how we are proving. So if there is anything in this world, there has to be a person, there has to be a creator behind it. It's a simple logic, common sense. Now, can you name the inventor here? Because this is also, we talk about the creation. Within the creation, all of us also exist. There are different planets, the space, and so many things.
The Big Bang.
No, we'll come to that. So can you name the creator here? Like Newton, he had a friend who would always argue with him. Newton was a believer of God. So he would say this creation has come because of God's intervention, because of his work. So he would say, come on, Newton, you are a student of science. How can you say this? This has just appeared out of nowhere. There was a big bang and by chance and all those theories he would give. So Newton tried to convince him. He wasn't convinced. One fine day, Newton made a step-down model of the entire universe, where there were planets and they would move also when he pressed a button, and he kept it on his table. So one morning, this friend of his came and he saw this. Oh, Newton, what a beautiful model. Who made this? And Newton said, you know, nobody made it. I just bumped into my cupboard and some rubber and tin and plastic. It just fell down. And it was pitch dark in my room. So in the morning when I woke up, I came here and this beautiful model had appeared on its own by chance. Now, does that make sense? Now, this friend of his says, come on, Newton, you're an intelligent person. How can you say such a beautiful model can appear on its own? And Newton said, you fool. You refuse to believe that this model of the creation of the universe can come into being on its own by chance. Still, you have the audacity to say that this entire original universe can come into existence on its own. Making sense? So even if the smallest thing cannot
Yes, sir.
come into being without any external help of a person, how can the original come into being? If I show you a picture of rose, a painting, beautiful painting of rose, your next question would be,
Who painted it?
who painted it? Who made it? Now, if I show you, which is like one-dimensional, if I two-dimensional. So if I show you a rose made of paper or ragazine, your question would be,
Who made it?
who made it? Immediately. And if I show you the original rose, and you are saying that nobody made it, it just appeared on its own. So not even a painting of a rose, not even a rose made of ragazine can come into existence without some person behind it. So how can the original rose, which has many more features, three-dimensional petals and the sweet fragrance? So that's how we try to apply logic. So creation implies a creator. If there is creation, there has to be a creator. So this is logic, common sense. Now, when we talk about mostly what people say about the creation of the universe, they talk about a massive explosion. They have given a name to this theory.
It's
What
called
is it?
the Big Bang, sir.
It's called a Big Bang theory.
The Big Bang.
Anybody knows what this theory tells us? What is it all about?
Basically, when a small
Yes, sir.
Just a
Many
second.
years
Please, wait. Please raise your hand and then we can one by one answer. We want all of you all to participate. Shaurya, yes, switch on your video and speak.
yes, sir. Actually, there's some problem with my video. I'm just trying to switch it on.
Okay.
So basically, the Big Bang theory is basically when a small gas. I don't really remember what gas, but the small bubble like started to become bigger and bigger, and then it finally exploded,
Okay.
and all the planets and the suns and the stars came into being.
Okay, ठीक है. Aradhya, whoever else wants to answer, please raise your hand.
So
What-
the Big Bang was created when suddenly nobody knew exactly how it was created. Suddenly there was a Big Bang. It just took 1 second. Everything was over, but it was so big.
Okay.
Just magically, galaxies and
Hmm.
galaxies appeared, and inside the galaxies, many planets appeared. Nobody has like a normal logical explanation. It's just a theory.
All right. All
We
right.
have no proof.
Yeah. Yes, Kyra, you raised your hand.
Yeah. So the Big Bang theory is how the sun was born and how the whole universe was born. So first it was the sun,
Hmm.
and then with all the remaining pieces, the other planets were created, including Earth.
Okay. Prasmita, you want to answer?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am, sorry, sir, it is like in rapid expansion from a single point of nearly infinite density.
Okay. ठीक है. Darian. Yeah, your mic is off.
Sorry, sir, I raised it by mistake, sir.
Okay. So what exactly this Big Bang theory says is that at one point of time in the history, there was a point of infinitesimal size with infinite temperature and infinite density, which cannot physically exist, by the way. So how can a point which is infinitesimal size can have infinite temperature and infinite density? So it cannot very physically exist, but still the theory says there was a point of infinite density and infinite temperature, and there was an explosion at some point of time in the history, and from that explosion have come into being all of us. You, me, this beautiful creation, the beautiful holiday destinations that you all visit during your summer vacation, the beautiful flowers, the beautiful people around you, the food that you eat, the taste and everything. Does it make sense? Now, let's go a little more, let's go deeper into it. This theory says from an explosion, all of us have appeared. Now, please tell me one thing. So how many of you have seen like beautiful skyscrapers in your cities?
I have sir. In
I've seen
Dubai, there are
the-
many beautiful skyscrapers, sir. I
Okay,
saw the
Delhi,
Burj Khalifa.
Delhi, Bombay, Kolkata, Dubai, you see these beautiful skyscrapers. And suppose one day I take you around the city. Suppose all of you come to Mumbai and I want to take you all around the city, right? And you
Yes.
see a beautiful building, say 100 floors, 70 floors. And you ask me, Prabhuji, who made it? And if I tell you, oh, nothing, it was easy. Last evening I came here, I planted some explosives in the ground and I pressed the button. There was an explosion. And then I went home. And in the morning, when I come back, I see this beautiful building.
Sir,
Wait.
it will take millions of years, sir. I
No,
know
no.
we need
Wait. Does it make sense?
No,
Explosion,
sir.
explosion we have always associated with destruction, never with creation. Now, if this theory is true, tell me, okay, at one point of time there was an explosion, it created. Why the explosions today are not creating life, rather they are destroying life? How many of you burst crackers on Diwali?
Sir, I do.
Sir, I do.
All of us,
Otherwise,
all of us have done it. All of us have done it at some point. But have you ever seen, oh, small firecracker, you burst it and suddenly a little baby comes out?
No.
You burst a bigger cracker and a Hulk comes out. Does it happen?
No, sir. That's
Obviously.
not even.
In fact, we are so scared being close to a firecracker because we know an explosion can lead to destruction. It has never created. And even in the scientific world, they have accepted that this theory is highly improbable and there is no proper proof to prove this, and this is just our assumption. So what we learn from the scriptures is that there is a creator. If there is creation, there must be a creator. Common sense. We are not even discussing scriptures now. Okay, God made it. That we'll discuss later. But what we are discussing is how we can, if somebody starts arguing with us, if there is creation, there has to be a creator. And if there is a supreme creation, there has to be a supreme creator. Explosion never creates, it destroys. It is associated with destruction. Number one point. Okay? Now, number two. Do you, when you go around the city, do you see certain laws in place?
Yes, sir. Every time we step out in the road, there has to be a few laws, sir. Like we have to look left and right, and we shouldn't dash people and obey the signals.
Who is this? I can't see you. Aradhya, it was you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can raise your hand and then speak, because I don't come to know who is speaking otherwise on my screen. Okay.
Yes,
So when we move around the city, do you see certain laws in place? Just name a few laws.
No spitting on the road.
Okay.
Sir, we can't smoke. We shouldn't smoke. It's no illegal.
Okay, certain areas you're not allowed. What other laws we have to follow when we are
No overtaking.
No overtaking. What else?
No texting and driving.
Okay, there is one on your screen. Nobody is mentioning that.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
Traffic light.
And the red
Okay.
lights.
Sir, I already mentioned it.
Okay.
So I don't
Then there are speed limits. Then you drive to the right or drive to the left, right? Okay, so now, so automatically when you come across certain laws, you understand somebody has made it, isn't it? Who made it? Who made these laws? The government. It's not that the laws have just appeared on their own. Otherwise, nobody would even bother about them. And you would say, oh, red signal, we are supposed to stop, but I will not stop because my favorite color is pink. Only when it turns pink, I'll stop. That won't work. So there is somebody who is making laws and we have to obey. So just like creation implies that there must be a creator, laws imply there must be a lawmaker. So when you're traveling in a train, there are certain laws you have to follow, isn't it? And we are bound by those laws. So when you're traveling in a flight, there is a law that you have to follow, certain laws. So that means laws imply a lawmaker. Can you name certain laws active within the universe? What are the certain laws that are there in the universe? Raise your hand if you can think of certain laws which are constantly. Yes, Kyra?
No gravity.
Oh, there is gravity. Within the universe, I'm not saying in the space. So which we come across while living in this world, there are certain laws which are active. There is a law of gravity. Yes, I'll take it from there. Yes, Aradhya.
Sir, no littering and jaywalking.
Certain laws within the universe which are taking place and we see them happening every day. Yes, Prasmita.
Yes, sir. Laws of vibration, attraction.
Okay. What about the sunrise and the sunset? Have you ever paid attention? Sun rises from the east and sets in the west.
Yes. Yes, sir.
What about the seasonal changes that take place? And systematically, cyclically, you don't have to even think, "Arey, abhi summer aa gaya, abhi agla season pata nahi kaun sa aayega. I don't know which clothes should I."
The water cycle.
Yeah. Okay. So then you talk about there is a small seed. And within that small seed is a huge tree. So now that cannot happen by chance. That is the smallest seed. You know, there is a tree called sequoia tree. And it grows up to 300 feet sometimes. The circumference of the tree is around 36 feet. Sorry, the diameter, I think. And if you cut this tree down, you can make 1,000 6-room houses, 6-bedroom houses. And you can fit at least 10,000 footballs in the hollow of this tree. That's how big is. That's how big this is. And what is the size of the seed of this tree? The size of the pinhead. It's the smallest. And a huge tree comes out of it. You sow a mango seed, what comes out?
A mango tree. A huge mango tree.
Are you sure? A mango tree only comes out?
And mangoes also. Mango fruit also.
Okay. If you sow an orange seed, what comes out?
Oranges come out and many birds and animals come to live there.
Don't extend it like a bubble gum. It's simple. If you sow an orange seed, an orange tree will come out. So these are laws. It's not that you sow an orange seed and you are waiting, pata nahi kya niklega. Karela na nikal jaye. You know what is karela? Okay.
Sir, I'm so sorry. I don't understand.
So when we look around, we see there are so many laws working in nature. So if there are laws, there must be a lawmaker. Right? So the first point is creation implies a creator. Laws imply a lawmaker. That's how we understand. So there are certain laws of gravity. If you throw something up in the air, it has to come down. That's the law of gravity. So Newton discovered it and he got a Nobel Prize, but he simply discovered it. The law was already there. Somebody must have made it, right? Okay, laws imply a lawmaker. Just for example, this and this.
The law of birth?
There is a similarity. How the fruit is born, the children are born. There is similarity.
Like the reproduction?
Yes, yes. And the order and design, you see, there is a sun. To make a small electric bulb, a person has made it. What about the bulb which is supplying light to the entire universe? So there has to be some brain working behind it. Water to store. Water, a human being can make a tank. What about this? A simple cloud, small cloud can inundate the whole city, can flood the whole city. It has so much water. So there must be someone. Okay, citric acid, a human being can make it. But there is somebody who has already put it inside the fruit. And we can have in abundance. So just like a person is required to pack some orange or mango juice inside these packets. So what about this? And such a nice packaging, you see, not even a drop can come out of it unless we squeeze it. How many of you would like to have mangoes which have no skin and no seed, only the pulp?
Not me, sir.
Wouldn't it be easy?
Not me.
Why not?
I can have it.
Okay.
I won't. It'll
But I don't.
from everywhere. It'll be so dirty because everyone will be touching it from the soil and stuff.
No, if it's absolutely clean, that becomes the norm in the universe. Wouldn't you enjoy absolutely clean?
Yeah, then I'll definitely.
Even I'll have.
Completely hygienic. All right, ठीक है. Mango season.
So you're frozen, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, are you there?
Can everyone hear me now?
Yes,
There was
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Wi-Fi issue. All right. So there is this hummingbird, the smallest bird, but it flies like 1,000 miles every year to spend its winter. The smallest, but it has non-stop 1,000 miles of flight. Now it can't be by chance, such a small bird and flying non-stop. And when the winter will set in, nobody goes and tells this hummingbird, but it knows. Then it goes across the Gulf of Mexico, and there he spends. It's winter. You see a camel. Now camel has been placed in a desert. That's the natural environment for the camel. But you see, it is not just being thrown, okay, chalo. There is some order and design. If the camel is made to live in a desert, it has been gifted with long legs. It has transparent eyelids. Why does it have transparent eyelids?
So the dust can't get in its
Yes, because
eyes.
there are constant dust storms, so it can keep on moving. And it can drink how many liters of water at a time? Anyone knows? 130 liters at a time. And it can store it for the next 7 days, because next 7 days in the desert, there may not be any water.
Sir,
So it has been gifted with this ability that, okay, there will not be any water, but it can store. None of us are gifted with that.
Sir, it's like a hump, sir. The hump only stores
Can you please,
water and fat.
when I ask, then only you can answer or raise your hand. I am not able to see who is answering. So when I'll ask for a question, then you can answer. Okay. So there is this order and design within the universe. You see a rose flower, such intricate design, so beautiful. So this also points in the direction of some intelligent designer behind it, right? If there is an intricate design, beautiful design, that implies there must be an intelligent designer. So what was the first point? We discussed proving the existence of God through common sense, science. C. What was it? C, but what does it stand for? Creation.
Creator.
Creation implies a creator.
Creator.
If there is a creation, there must be a creator. None of the things can come into existence without a creator behind them. Okay, then the next was laws imply a lawmaker. There are many laws working in nature that must imply that there must be a lawmaker somewhere, even though we are not able to see. And order and design, beautiful order and design within the universe. So how do we remember this? C Lord theory. This is the theory we designed to prove the existence of God. C Lord. L ORD is order and design. C Lord. That's how you can remember this. Creation implies a creator, laws imply a lawmaker, and there is beautiful order and design. See Lord. That way we can learn to see God. And it's not that whatever we can see is what we believe, because we have limited senses, we must remember. Now, have you ever seen a puppet show? In a puppet show, the puppets are dancing, but do you ever see the puppeteer also who is making them dance? No, but we know there is somebody behind that. So although we are not able to see. So similarly, God is there, but not necessary that we have to see him to know that he exists, because we have limited vision. For example, oil in the oil seeds. Can you see? Okay, I'll give you a better example. Can you see ghee inside the milk? But how is ghee made? It's made out of milk. But can you see with the naked eye?
No.
No.
But through a process, it can be seen. The ghee is turned into curd, then you churn it, the butter comes out, you heat it, and then ghee is made. Can you see oil in the oil seeds? No. With this vision, but through a process, it can be seen. Can you see sugar in the sugar cane?
No, sir.
But through a process, it can be seen. Similarly, yes, God is there, the beautiful design, there is beautiful creation, there are certain laws. So, but through a process, he can be seen. Not that, okay, I can't see, so I can't believe, because we have a limited vision, our senses are limited sensory power. We can't even see things too close or too far away from us. So how can we see something which is like so great? So this is how we understand. If there is a beautiful design, creation, and laws working in nature, it is common sense to understand there is a great brain working behind it. Everything is clear till this point? Any questions? Samaira, Kaira, or anyone else? Any questions till now?
No, sir.
No,
Making
sir.
sense, whatever I spoke?
Yes. Yes.
Very
Okay.
much,
So
sir.
this is just logic, common sense. Now, we come back to the Bhagavad Gita, which is known as the Song of God, Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses, as we discussed. The first verse we will try and memorize and discuss today. And this verse is spoken. And how many chapters does Bhagavad Gita have? Anyone knows? How many chapters?
Sir, 18.
I know the verses, number of verses, but not the chapters.
Okay, there are 18 chapters, 700 verses. And Gita is a part of which scripture?
Mahabharat.
Mahabharat.
Bhagavad Gita appears as a part of Mahabharat, 18 chapters. And the first chapter begins with this question by Dhritarashtra. Can you all see it on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I will teach all of you how to chant, and then I'll give you some explanation also, because this happens to be the first verse of the Gita. We will learn this also, and every session we'll learn at least one important verse of the Gita and what does it imply in our life. All right, is that okay? And plus we will also discuss some other things, interesting things, like we discussed today, how we can prove the existence of God even when we are not able to see him, how we can understand that he exists. Okay, so please repeat after me, or
Yes, sir.
okay, then I'll ask one by one. Some of you can repeat. Well, let's do it this way. Others can keep their mics off. One of you can raise hand one by one who can help, who can recite with me, and then some of you can take turns so that you learn the pronunciation. Please raise your hands. Okay, we'll begin with Aradhya, then Shrinika. Others can also. So others can keep their mics off, but you can also chant. Repeat after me. Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Namaveta Yuyutsavaha.
Namaveta Yutsavaha.
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha.
Namaveta
Sama, it's S. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha.
Samaveta Yutsavaha.
Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva.
Mamaka Pandavaschaiva.
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Okay, Shrinika, you can switch on your mic. Others can also keep repeating. Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha.
Samaveta Yuyutsava.
Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva.
Mamaka Pandavaschaiva.
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Rasmita,
Yes, sir.
is there some music going on in the background? Okay, somebody else? Two more people. Two more children. Please raise your hand. Who can help? Samara, you will do? You try? Let's try. Your mic is off. Samira? Okay, you want to try? We can't hear you. There's some issue. Okay, anyone else? Kaira, Mahi? Let's try. We will get used to it once we try. Kaira, let's do it.
Okay.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmashetre Kurukshetre
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
Samavetra Yuyutsavaha
Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva
Mama Pandavashcheva
Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Kimakuvata Sanjaya.
Mahi, would you read the translation down? Dhritarashtra said. Your mic is off.
Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the son of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage
at
at
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetras, desiring to fight, what did they do?"
Okay. So this is the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. If somebody asks you tomorrow, okay, tell me the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita. How does the Bhagavad Gita begin? You can always mention this. This is spoken by Dhritarashtra, who happens to be the father of the Kauravas. And the history is that both the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they belong to one family, one dynasty, which was known as Kuru dynasty. In essence, even the Pandavas were Kauravas because they belonged to the same family, the Kaurava dynasty. But the Pandavas were very gentle, humble, and Duryodhana and his people, they were always trying to kill them because they were worried that Pandavas would take away the kingdom, which rightfully belonged to them. And they were cheated out of the kingdom. There was a gambling match. Their wife was insulted by the Kauravas. And then they were sent into exile, 12 years, and then 1 year incognito. And the condition was, if the Pandavas were found during that 1 year of incognito, then they had to go again for 12 years into exile. And Duryodhana's plan was, he would keep sending them like this into exile every 12 years. He would find them out and he would send his spies. But Pandavas had one very powerful factor in their favor, which always saved them from all dangers and always protected them. What was that factor?
Krishna.
Yes, it was Krishna. Because he is very kind to his devotees. He was always protecting them. And so many dangers came into Pandava's life. So after the exile period was over, the Pandavas wanted their kingdom. Duryodhana said, I will not give. Even though the Pandavas had fulfilled the conditions. And then Krishna went as a messenger. And he said, Duryodhana, at least give them 5 villages. You keep the entire world with you. Just give them 5 villages. What did Duryodhana say?
No.
He said no. What else?
He said, I won't even give you a needle point of land.
Exactly. He said, if they want, they have to fight with me. And now the war was inevitable because all the attempts by the Pandavas to avoid this war were, they failed. Even Krishna happened to fail, kind of. So now both the armies are assembled on the battlefield. Where did the war take place?
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra. And this is where Bhagavad Gita begins. Dhritarashtra is blind. And he has his secretary Sanjay, who is not blind. And Sanjay has been blessed with a divine vision, whereby sitting in his palace, he could see what was happening some 100, 200 miles away. How could he do that? It's easy. If a human being can create a television where you're sitting at home and you can watch what is happening 10,000 miles away in America or other places of the world, why can't these great sages have this power? With the power of the mantras, he was blessed. And he was going to narrate everything that was happening to his boss, Dhritarashtra, who was blind. And Dhritarashtra is asking this question, after the 2 armies assembled on the holy place of pilgrimage called Kurukshetra, What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? Till now, Dhritarashtra was saying, no, no, Pandavas are also my children, my children. Now he has separated. His actual consciousness, thinking process has come out. He's saying, my sons and the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas, what did they do? So it seems to be a simple question. Okay, what happened there? But it is coming out of fear, great fear. When we are fearful, what comes out of our mind? The first thing which is causing that fear. So Dhritarashtra is saying, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Oh Sanjay, the battle is being fought in a holy place of Kurukshetra. What did they do? So what is causing him so much anxiety and fear? The reason is the battle was taking place at a very, very sacred place. You know the holy places? Have you all heard about holy places in India? The whole world comes to visit them. Can you name a few? Anvi, name a few.
Golden Temple.
Golden Temple, yes. Yes. Prasmita?
Kedarnath.
Kedarnath. Okay.
The Jagannath Temple in Puri.
Jagannath Temple in Puri. Okay. What else? What other holy places do we have in India?
So also Mahakaleshwar in Indore.
Mahakaleshwar in Indore. Great. What else? Okay, so there is a homework for everyone for the next week. Do you like homework?
So there is also Haridwar and
It'll be fun. So all of you during the next week, just do some research, and you can maybe write something about 3 holy places of India. Some of you might choose Vrindavan, Dwarka, Mathura, or somebody might choose Kedarnath, Badrinath, Ayodhya, Rameshwaram, whichever you like. I leave it to you. Do some research, gather some information, and write it in your notebook, and let's discuss it next time we meet. Is that okay?
So, can I please tell why Dhritarashtra was blind?
No, wait. We will discuss that later. But this is your homework. Is everybody okay with this? Next
Yes,
week,
sir.
you have like full 7 days. 3 holy places. Do some research.
hear you. Please can you repeat the homework?
Okay. The homework is you all have to write in your notebook. Do some research. You can ask around. You can ask your parents, your family, your grandparents. 3 holy places of India you have to write, and you can choose your own. I'm not giving you like a fixed names. You can choose 3 holy places and write a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 lines about each, or if you want to write more, but 4 or 5 lines minimum. And let's meet next week and discuss. That way you will also come to know, I will also come to maybe some things which I even don't know. I can learn from all of you, isn't it? We can learn from each other, and then we can share that next time we meet. So this is the homework. Do some research, 3 holy places, any 3 holy places of India, and write like 5 or 6 lines about each. If you get more information, really nice. But if it's like limited to 5 or 6 lines also, that's also fine. The more the merrier. Just a second, let me finish this. We'll take your question. So he's worried because the battle is taking place in a holy place called Kurukshetra. So it has been a very important part of Indian culture to visit holy places. Why? And Dhritarashtra knows this because the holy place, a sacred place of pilgrimage, Tirtha, has the power to increase the power of the holy people, good people. And who are the good people here in Kurukshetra? The battle.
Pandavas.
Wow. So they were anyways powerful, and Dhritarashtra was worried that the battle is taking place in a holy place. It would increase the power of the holy Pandavas, and they were anyways powerful. So he was very worried. Arey baap re, ye to aur shakti inki badh jayegi. Second reason he was fearful about is that the holy place has the power to decrease the power of the unholy people. And who are the unholy people here?
The
Kauravas.
So he was worried that his sons will be defeated in the battle.
Because their powers would decrease. It's a holy place. Automatically, it would influence them. Number 2. This is another reason for the great anxiety that Dhritarashtra had. It would increase Pandavas' power. It would decrease Kauravas' power. And in a battle between dharma and adharma, the right and the wrong, Dharma eventually wins. And who was dharmic here? Who was religious, more religious?
Pandavas.
That means who would come out victorious? Automatically it was
Pandavas.
Pandavas, because in a battle between dharma and adharma, dharma wins. Number 4, who the father of dharma was present on the side of the Pandavas. Who was it?
Sir, because
Krishna.
Krishna was also present on Pandava's side. He is the father of dharma. Just a second, please. I'll come back to you. And another thing, another reason why Dhritarashtra was worried is that the holy place also has the power to purify a contaminated, an impure mind. And who had the most impure mind in this?
Duryodhan.
Duryodhan. So Dhritarashtra was worried. Are Bapre, the holy place might just influence Duryodhana, and he might just change his mind and give the kingdom back to the Pandavas without any war. So Dhritarashtra didn't want that compromise because he was also attached to kingdom. He didn't want to let it go. So that's why he was worried. That's why the first words that come out of his mouth is Dharma Kshetra. It is a Dharma Kshetra. It is a place of dharma. What will happen to my children now? So these were the 4 or 5 reasons. Krishna's presence, it would increase Pandava's power, it would decrease Kauravas' power, it could change Duryodhana's mind. And in a battle between dharma and adharma, he knew that his own children, his own sons were adharmic. They were not religious, so they would be defeated. And that's how the Bhagavad Gita begins, with a question based on fear. These were the external reasons, but I'll end with this one point. But what was the main reason why Dhritarashtra, despite having the most powerful warriors on his son's side, and despite having the kingdom, despite having the wealth and bigger army, why he should be anxious? Why is he going through anxiety? Yes?
Sir, he was committing a sin, sir. It was adharma. Dharma is the people who commit that. People who do dharma always win. And the second reason is also because he doesn't have God on his side. Krishna is the Pandavas side.
All right. So the real reason why he's going through anxiety, and that's what we see here, that have you ever seen, have you come across people that they have everything in life? They have wealth, they have fame, they have big houses, they have the nicest things to eat. Still, they are not happy. Have you ever come across such people? It happens, we can learn from Dhritarashtra, that Dhritarashtra, despite having all the powers and wealth and fame and everything, he was still living in anxiety. He was not happy because he was sinful. He was on the wrong side. Now, he had not directly committed a sin, but he had helped his son commit sins against the Pandavas. And anybody who supports also has to share equal amount of karma. The doer, the director who says, okay, aisa karo, the person who actually does it, and the person who supports it, all 3 types of people have to share the reaction. So we shouldn't even support any wrong activity. We shouldn't even direct what to speak of actually doing it. And because Dhritarashtra had supported it, so therefore, as a reaction to his wrong activities, he was going through anxiety and he was not happy even after having everything. So we should be very careful that we should always follow the righteous path and not commit any wrong activities if we want to stay happy in this world. Right?
Yes, sir.
The first verse is clear? The first verse of the Gita?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next time, remember the homework and we'll try and revise. Wait. And we'll try and revise whatever we have learned. And for every class, 5 minutes, we'll revise what we have done in the previous class. And next week, of course, we are going to be listening about the 3 holy places that you will please write. And 5-6 lines minimum. And if you want to write more, you're more than welcome. Any questions now before we end?
Yes, I do have.
Yes, please.
When Duryodhana and Shakuni died, then did they go to hell or heaven?
What do you think?
So I think they went to heaven for 1 year and went to hell. That's what they say. They went to heaven for 1 year because one of their ancestors had got a boon from God. He asked for all of his things all of his children to go to heaven, like even like his grandchildren. He
Okay.
told, no, that's not fair.
Radha, we'll let's discuss this one by one, not everything in one session, because others also need to just learn everything. So we'll discuss it next week, right? One by one, not everything in one session. Anybody else has a question? So whatever we discussed, did you all understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, interesting. So the first part we discussed how we can prove the existence of God. I hope you have noted down the points.
Yes.
And secondly, we discussed the first verse of the Gita and try and memorize it. So what I will do, I will be putting it up on the chat, and some of your, I think mothers are on the chat, so you can ask your mothers. I will put up that first verse of the Gita on the chat with the recitation. And so two things, you have to memorize the verse, understand what it says, the translation, and write something about the 3 holy places of India. You pick your holy places and write something about that. Some interesting information in the process you will also learn, and others will also learn. We will also learn. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Shall we end? So next week we are meeting at 11 only every Sunday. Today I had some work, so we had to just postpone the class to 12, but every week otherwise 11 o'clock. So look forward to seeing all of you. God bless. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you, sir.